You mentioned how difficult it's going to be, or at least for an adjustment to play in front of no fans. What are we going to hear? What are we as fans going to hear that we normally wouldn't, John?
Well, let me take you back to 1988 and 89 in the Atlanta Braves Stadium when there was 1,500 fans. You can hear the lights buzzing. You're going to hear people. You're going to hear everything. You hear the ball hit the seats. So I found myself wandering too many times on the mound, hearing things you normally don't hear, and that's the discipline of concentration that I'm talking about. I mean, you're going to hear the dugouts yelling. You're going to hear everything that you would never hear because of the dull roar that is actually in a stadium, and you're going to hear the cracks of the bat and all the things. So that part, getting spring training in their cities, in their parks without any fans, is going to help. But it's still weird, man. It goes back to American Legion days, maybe even Little League. Well, Little League, you still have parents that are yelling at each one of their children to get the ball down, keep your eye on it.
Right.
So I think the creative teams are really going to get out in front, both philosophically, changing some philosophical strategies, and maybe having fun in the dugout with some banter and chatter that you would only hear kind of in Little League and American League Legion. So that part's going to be intriguing, and to be honest, it's going to be very challenging for the broadcasters as well, because it's going to be different, except for the ones that are there on site. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a whole challenge for every industry to figure out how you can adapt to something that's new, something that has a little excitement behind it, but also a little trepidation of the fact that you don't know this. This is foreign to everybody, and I really look forward to see the teams that are cohesive and get out in front and collectively work a plan out are going to be the team that has success. I really believe that.
All right, so you left a couple strands I want to pull on here, John. First things first, in terms of the broadcasting, have you and Fox and MLB Network had conversations about what this looks like? Are you going to be sitting in your home for some of these, calling the games? Has that already been a conversation for you, John?
Yeah, that's been part of the conversations. I know both entities are looking at the best way to keep everybody in a healthy and safe way and bring a broadcast to the people's homes in the best form that they can. You've seen other sports doing this kind of stuff. I think you're going to see similar scenarios play out. That's what's got me a little nervous of the unknown. I like structure. I want to desperately get back to structure. I've never played this much golf in my life, so I'm not complaining about the golf part.
Right.
But I do like structure, and then having to squeeze in golf makes me feel like I'm back where I need to be.
Okay.
Instead of every day, being Groundhog Day.
Would you be cool, or do you think the players would be fine if to get some sort of home field advantage? Certainly, when the playoffs roll around, to get some sort of crowd noise where it's difficult for the pitcher to think, difficult for the hitter to focus, that sort of thing. Would you be fine with that being pumped in?
You mean pumping in crowd noise?
Yes, sir. To make it some sort of home field advantage. You know what it's like when the towels are waving and you're on the road. And
did the Falcons get in trouble for that? Oh, I should.
No. Also, yeah, no. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is I'm talking about that for the NFL too. Like, yeah, that there's when the NBA returns, the NHL returns, to try and create something to enhance or get it as close to as possible what it would be like normally. Yeah,
I doubt we're going to see that. There's just too many scenarios that could be created there unfairly, other than the natural crowd that is understanding the moment. So, again, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we'll trend in the right direction and we'll be able to get crowds at the end of the year. Don't know if that's going to be the case or not, but this is a step in the right direction from the fact that baseball is going to be played, it's going to be viewed. There's going to be an excitement that you and I've talked about my first half, second half scenario. We'll need to go back into it, but here's a preview of it. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a small preview of what that's like to know that, let's say this is the second half of the season and it's a sprint to the playoffs for that particular team that would not have had a chance in a 162. I think there's a lot of things that could come out of this season. Things that they like or don't like about potential rule changes that could be really, why not? This is the perfect scenario to throw out whatever you think is goofy, great, or bad and test it out, because no one's going to have an advantage in any of these rule changes that have taken place. And I can't wait to watch this sprint, because I know after 21 years of playing 162 games and 14 straight years of going to the postseason, what a grind and what a roster, and how important it is to have a roster set up for 162. Now you're bringing in at least 30% of the teams that would not have had a chance had we started this season on time and played out this to its fulfillment. So that part, I cannot wait as a broadcaster to look out and see the teams that are impacted differently by this schedule.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.